Health Services and 2020 Vision Radio presents Out of the Shadows and Into the Light with host Dr. Glenville E. Liebert and special guests. Join us every Friday at 7 a.m. as we promote awareness of disability issues to affect policy and social change for the better. Be a part of the conversation by calling 1-869-469-7953 or 1-869-765-7312. You can also WhatsApp call 1-869-669-7312. And don't forget our Magic Jack number 917-460-2187. Every Friday at 7 a.m. we bring you Out of the Shadows and Into the Light. Sponsored by Eureka Health Services in collaboration with 2020 Vision Radio.
Are you concerned about your health? Come on, everyone should be. The old people say that who don't pay a doctor will pay a pastor, or someone will for you. So before it reaches to that stage, come on in and visit Eureka Health Services in Ramsbury. Dr. Liebert and his associates at Eureka will take excellent care of you. They're friendly, experienced, and professional. So call them at 1-869-469-0521 or 1-869-662-5187. And for more information, just visit their website at www.eurekahealthservices.com. At Eureka Health Services, patients are our number one priority.
Go ahead.
Very good morning to everybody. Welcome to Out of the Shadows Into the Light for another Friday. Yes, it's Friday. This time it's Friday what date is it today?
13th
The 13th? Yeah. Oh no. No one likes Friday to come on the 13th. Well, that's what it is today. Please don't tell me it's Black Friday, Paul. But welcome everybody. We are the CBR crew, of course, led by Dr. Glenville Liebert. We are glad to be here. Good morning to you, Dr. Liebert.
Yeah, good morning, Winfred, and good morning to... Okay, let me introduce himself. Our studio guest.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Paulette. In the background.
Yes, we have the whole crew this morning. Yeah. Paulette is with us, and well, she won't be on air, but she's with us, giving her support as usual. And Ray is also with us, giving her support as well. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. Got a headache, but I'm good.
Oh, you're good, but your head not good. I don't mean it that way.
Right, because if you tell somebody in Barbados that the head ain't good, or you refer to somebody as the head ain't good, it might mean that they're kind of crazy, and you might get beat down or something.
I know.
Right?
Right here too.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a Caribbean thing, huh?
Cool, nice.
All right. But we're glad to be here, and we will pray. Father, we are so grateful that you have allowed us to see another day. We thank you for the blessing of life and the privilege, Lord, to enjoy life. We pray, Father, that as we make our contribution today to life and to our surroundings, to our fellow men, that you would honor everything that we do and that we'll be successful. We pray for those who are sick and shut in and bereaved and those who are having trouble. We ask you that you'll be with them, very close to them today. Touch Paul's head, Lord, so that he'll be fine. We just want him to be happy. And Lord, we thank you for giving us the opportunity to stage another event, CBI. We ask that everything will go well and that you will ask, Lord, that you will send persons to give us support. Thank you for all that you'll do with us, through us, and for us today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Okay, so let me have the first say, please, Dr. Liebert.
Sure, go ahead.
The 13th of June is here, which means that CBR's breakfast is ready. Well, it's not 7 o'clock yet, but today is the day, and we're asking everyone to journey to the Cotton Ground Community Center and patronize the very sumptuous breakfast that CBR will provide for you for only $20. Whether you have a ticket or not, please come by and help us as we endeavor to raise funds to purchase a mobility vehicle. That's my pitch for now. Dr. Liebert, over to you.
Yes, Renford and our guest. It's another wonderful, fabulous Friday, and it's been a very hectic week.
Yes, it's been.
But we are thankful that we have made it this far, and that the breakfast is up and running. Good morning to you, Monica. Good morning, Florian, and the crew there at Cotton Ground Community Center. I know Florian should be doing some shuttling back and forth, so we wish everything will go
well.
smoothly and well. And good to see you this morning, Paulette. I know you're not on here, but good to see you getting back in the swing of things. And of course, Ray and Paul. Good to have you in the studio this morning too.
I suppose we want to do some reflection on yesterday's activity. Paul, would you like to lead the charge?
Yesterday's activity. Well, we had 2 activities yesterday morning.
Well, not necessarily the first one, just the.
Oh yeah, we had a seminar on climate change. It's pretty much very interesting, actually. Well presented by 2 young ladies, one from Barbados, one from Trinidad. It's a grouping. We looked at climate change. We looked at how it will impact the different sectors. But what we did also, we were placed in groups, and our group looked at healthcare, and we looked at healthcare and disabilities and the elderly, and how we can help those during the situations of climate disasters or anything of this sort. Yeah.
And it is important. It played right into CBR's mantra, inclusivity. Make sure that everyone is taken care of. And so we are so glad that we were able to come together and discuss these very pertinent subjects as it relates to persons with disabilities and the elderly and so on. Because yes, climate change is reality, maybe except for probably one person in the world. But we we forge on forward, and we are endeavoring to make sure that we are able to take care of those persons that are more vulnerable.
Yeah, coming out, the seminar was quite interesting. What was coming out that's quite interesting is the fact that the opportunities that are presenting themselves in terms of proposal submissions to different agencies that are looking to help with the climate change issue right now, but they're not looking at the holistic basis, meaning that as an organization we can submit a proposal to the agencies and seek funding for a particular area. Yes, we have to justify it. Yes, we have to validate it, but the concept is there, and it helps us to understand that outside of get assistance from government or from corporate needs, we can get assistance from international organizations that are not taking an interest into the programs and initiatives going on within NEVIS. And at CBR, we'll be looking at submitting one of those proposals for our sustainable development goal, our development goals that we are having. Yes, in collaboration with sustainable development goals, but we'll be looking at submitting a proposal where we can actually have some proper funding coming through. We were told that access to at least $1 million we can get US, and that will really give us a good headway in getting a vehicle, getting our structure a bit more outfitted and recreational for relaxation and guidance. Yeah.
Yes, that is a good thing, and we were glad for the opportunity. Doctor, could you tell us more about the initiative in terms of how this whole program came about?
Well, the Paris Agreement under the climate initiative, the Green Climate Fund, came out of an agreement by the nations of the world at Paris some time back, and there's money that has been committed or pledged towards sustainable climate management in terms of saving the planet from global warming and things like that. And so they call it the Green Climate Fund. And every country have to commit to carbon reduction. They have what they call carbon credits, so when they do certain things to show that they are reducing the carbon footprint, the carbon generation footprint, because carbon dioxide in the atmosphere leads to depletion of the ozone layer and global and rising temperatures, and that leads to more severe and more frequent storms and other climate-related issues due to the man's use of the environment. And so they're encouraging people worldwide to begin to live in harmony with the environment. And there are technologies which have been researched and developed to make these things a reality. And using these technologies, showing that you are recycling things, you're getting away from fossil fuel production and consumption, and using renewable sources of energy like solar and geothermal and wind, things like that. That will help to reduce the carbon footprint. And so countries that are showing development in these areas based on how they've been consuming or producing carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, they are given credits, which, according to the Paris Climate Agreement, they will, qualify for certain level of funding support. I mean, I don't know all the technicalities, but that's my general understanding of these things. Each country have what they call NDCs, nationally determined contribution towards the global carbon dioxide reduction, And so each country will look at their pattern of carbon dioxide production, the amount of vehicles and, use of fossil fuel and so on. And the scientists, they have the formula for working out these carbon credits are nationally determined contributions. And so St. Kitts and Nevis, based on what they have, done, they have signed to this agreement. And so each country can now show that they are doing sustainable climate management practices, and they will qualify for funding under this climate fund. And of course, the civil society sector is also part of that arrangement. And once, as a civil society group, we are doing projects that will add to this country nationally determined contribution, then we will qualify as a civil society group to get funding under the Green Climate Fund and other initiatives that support this Paris Accord,
Well, whatever needs to be done to get some money, I'm sure will be done. But I certainly support, the initiatives that would put things in place to make sure that those persons who are vulnerable are, taken care of as it relates to climate change and all these disasters and so on. I'm going to ask you guys to remind me to bring up a subject with you at some point. At some point yesterday, I seem to have placed a burning torch in a haystack, and I was not able to pursue it the way I would have liked because of time constraint and everything else. But
I guess the haystack was wet.
well, somebody seemed to add doused it with some water, but that's okay. I will hold on to my conviction, and we'll seek to discuss that further with you guys. Anyway, Dr. Lywood, our endeavors in terms of protecting and looking out for those persons that we feel fall in that category of vulnerability as it relates to all these other things, how are we doing as a group?
Well, our group is right in line with the gender-related issues and looking at vulnerable groups, which the Green Climate Fund and will have make allowance for. And so the local gender affairs department has been selected as a focal point to develop programs that are gender sensitive and also linking gender with climate. So we were looking at the ways in how climate affect gender affect climate, and vice versa.
Yes.
And so we were just discussing the different ways, and gender is just more than male and female, So it's a big topic which I am not fully qualified to delve into at this stage.
Well, a number of things came out of yesterday's seminar, conference, workshop, whatever you want to call it. One of the things I heard, and it tells me how much we have to try to do more educational programs, and it's true. Somebody said that whenever you heard gender, you thought of women or you thought of females, which is true. And that tells me that we have a lot of work to do in terms of, educating the public, educating our children, educating young people, making sure that certain subjects are discussed in the schools and so on, so that, we as a people, we have to make sure, those of us who are older, we have to make sure that the younger generation, that the torch that is passed on to them is the one that will light the way going forward in the right way, right? Making sure that they have the right concepts in place, right?
The seminar did look a lot at gender and its infusion with climate change and remedial responses, which is good in itself, and I guess eye-opening. But the thing is also to really bring it back to CBR. When we look at disabilities, we look at the elderly care. I believe personally that every person on the face of the earth have some sense of masculinity about them and some sense of femininity about them. And at some point in time, we have to embrace that about an individual in that given time. And the same thing goes for those persons with disabilities and those persons that are in the elderly bracket. And we looked also at a lot of how we can focus gender related issues with the climate change and stuff like that. I prefer to take it a bit further to say we just look at holistic issues, meaning that yes, we will cater to women who will be marginalized. Mm-hmm. We will cater to that body of young females who are single parents. We will cater to persons who do not have access to the necessary sanitary resources they need. But we also have to cater to the young men and who seem to fall by the wayside or to the bracket where they're left out of being cared for. I don't want to say they're not cared for, but sometimes we focus a lot on female issues. I'm not being racist, sexist here. I just say we focus a lot on that, and this is good. I encourage it, but we also need to have a balance, strike a balance where men are also focused on, because we leave them to their own devices, and sometimes those devices aren't that good. And we have seen a lot of crime in Barbados in particular. We've seen crime climb up in air in a hurry, and a lot of men, the young boys that are I don't want to say left to the wayside, but a lot of these young boys who engage themselves in lawlessness. And so there has to be some sort of focus on getting young men to understand, one, they're loved by society, two, they care for by their people, and three, they have a contribution that's meaningful to make the development of society. And so while the program looks at gender, we focus generally, not generally, but mostly on balance between women initiatives and men initiatives. But I think we need to strike understanding within ourselves that men need some level of guidance, and we're not gods, so I don't know what other persons. I'm not God, so I still too need guidance. I too need to be shown the way. I will make mistakes, and as I make those mistakes, I expect someone to say, Paul, this is not the way it's supposed to be done, and that instruction can come from a male or female. It can come from a child. You understand?
I noticed, Paul, that you're very cautious in terms of making reference to focus. And I think that is where our problem is, and we need to zero in on it. Isn't it true that the focus that should have been put on men and probably boys, that the ball was dropped at some point?
I can't speak for Nevis particularly.
Well, in general, yes.
In general, across the world, we tend to see the Herald Agrippa. We tend to see the Caesar. We tend to see Napoleon. We tend to see these big characters that were men, and they brought the world to the knees, and they did this and they did that. They're grander, but boys have issues too. And they still need guidance, they still need nurturing, they still need that concerned parent, that concerned adult to point them in the right direction. That's really elderly comes in significantly in CBR, because we roll up programs that will help young persons to understand their way in this world. They help them to navigate the tough waters that they will go through. The thing is that when we sit down and we look back at men through the entire years, we often talk about how good this man was, how great leader he was. I have home a book of fantastic 100 leaders of the world. And in it, I can find 2 female leaders only. And that's not to say that females haven't been doing anything significant, but what that has done, that grandialized the idea that men are ever such great leaders. Men when it comes to the development of things, men are those persons.
Was that book written by a man?
as we were saying.
Because I mean, that might explain why he only told you guys.
That's what I'm saying. We feed the narrative that a man is already taken care of. We feed the narrative that a man is already has his way made. He already knows what to do. He already knows how to fix things. And when we talk about great leaders, we talk about pioneer scientists, we talk about people who are great mathematicians, we always look at the men. And we don't highlight and we don't highlight the females, and I'm not saying we should, but what I'm saying to you is that mentality that men has it gives the impression, or the false impression, that men don't need support, that men don't need help, that young boys don't need help, and we need to stop doing it. I'm not saying to you don't grandiose them. I'm not saying to you don't appreciate what they've done. What I am saying is this: young boys still needs help. Because we are looking at helping the females, which is good, and I applaud that and support that. But we also need to strike the balance where we help the young boys too, because more young boys are turning to life of crime, drugs, and these, undesirable goals, rather than turning towards the sciences or the creative aspect. And I mean, they're creative in their own science with drugs, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that they need that guidance. And we cannot believe in ourselves that the men will figure it out. They cannot figure it out. We have seen it consistently. They're not figuring it out. I've been to 3 seminars this week alone. And in those seminars, if they had 5 men, they had a lot. And the seminars were full. And they said, in excess of 30,000 people. And so you have a lot of females getting involved with things, and men are not getting involved. We're not encouraging men to get involved. We're not forcing, not helping them to understand and see their role within these things, because the input for men are important.
I was scared for a little bit earlier, Paul, because I know that men were created to be leaders, right? And so
Hold up.
We
Sorry,
don't,
go ahead.
we don't we don't want to take that away. But the point that we want to make is that somebody call it societal, somebody call it traditional, but traditionally, as we grew up, we've seen the focus, that's been instead away from boys, right? The girls, as we grew up, we see, you gotta make, it's always making sure the girls are good, making sure that they're safe. And for some reason or the other, the boys are left to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And many times they get it wrong.
I would love
because
to
of lack of
interject
guidance.
when you're finished.
Sure, anytime. I'm sure that when you were growing up as a little girl, where you had your long hair with your ribbon, they make sure you had your socks on, make sure you had your bag, make sure that your dress was neatly ironed and everything like that. And when the sun started to go down, your mom called, come inside, make sure you're inside. But the boys, they all, this is general across the board, across the Caribbean. Well, I know that in my community where I grew up, I could hear the mothers calling out to the girls, come inside, go and get a shower. It's time to do your homework and all that kind of thing. But the boys, they're somewhere in the pasture looking after the sheep or playing cricket or pitching marbles or looking fruits or whatever. Whenever they come home, they come home.
That's correct.
That's the kind of a thing that happened, and now it's come back to bite us, as it were, right? Because we didn't do the right thing, we didn't do the right thing the right way, at the right time, and so that's all we are saying. And Paul is saying the focus needs to be balanced. Yeah. Children are children, whether they be male or female.
Refer don't mean the kind of head, but it seems as though
No, I get it.
you're carrying out the female.
No.
She pushed away the mic.
It's just that earlier I was itching to say something, but the itch gone, so let me leave that alone.
Okay, all right, wait. I'm going to turn my mic off.
No, it's okay. But I did in fact have a different experience to what you described. I guess that's because we are in different generations. But it might also be my specific upbringing, because I can't say in my memory that I was treated any different to my brothers, or that my sister and I were treated any different to my brothers. But that might just be my particular household, right? But
well, to be honest, I am the same, because my mother had 4 boys and 4 girls, so you see the balance right away, right? It was 8 of us. Well, end up 12 of us were raised together, but there were 8 of our own, right? 4 boys and 4 girls. And I can tell you, there was never a favorite, right? So, yes, in particular households and so on, you know, we were brought up in a Christian home, Christian community and all that. There are differences, but I'm just talking about the general focus, you know. Right. Generally, as you look around you, you can see it, you can feel it, you can hear it, right? Where the focus becomes more on making sure that the girls are okay, right?
And here's what I want to say to that.
Sure, go ahead.
Who is, to use the word at fault, or to say to blame might sound a little bit harsh, but who would you say is responsible for the fact that the boys are not as in the spotlight as the girls? Because here's my thing, and people might disagree with me, but that's fine. So Father's Day is coming up, right? And I'm sure you're going to hear people say, oh, they hardly do things for the fathers like they do for the mothers, right? You've probably heard that before. Mm-hmm. But here's my thing. When it comes to Mother's Day and things related to women, who are the people making sure that things happen for the women and the girls? Who are the people? I'm going to let you speak, my good man. Right? But you will find that it's the women. It was more to get you to think while I made my point, right?
Oh, go ahead.
But who are the people doing things? It's the women that are pushing to make sure that things are done for the girls and the women. When it comes to Father's Day, are we to expect that the women are to be the ones to push and make things happen for the fathers? Of course, if they want to do that, that's beautiful and that's fine. But what I'm saying is when it comes to the development of men and boys, the men need to be the ones to take charge instead of people sitting back and saying, oh, the women get everything. That's because the women do everything. And the men, just as much as the women, could do something to make Father's Day be a bigger deal, to make the boys in Nevis, the boys in Barbados, the boys in any Caribbean country be a bigger deal. Right?
And she is correct.
Of course I am. I'm a woman.
Whoa.
I just play.
She is correct, but let me look at it this way. Yesterday, Renfrew dropped the torch in the haystack. Mm-hmm. And it was quickly out. Mm-hmm. Why? Let me explain to you why. And the torch had merit. It had merit. when he said, we're not going to get to that there now. But,
not today.
But it had merit in the sense that women have always been that person who organizes. And within the household, the woman organizes, the female organizes, the lady organizes. Within the workplace, when it comes to structure in terms of neatness, tidiness, or planning, aesthetics. That woman, that female, that lady, that feminine person is the person who makes sure things are done accordingly. Mankind or man has been brought up to think that, you know what, when it comes to organizing things like that, so we weren't taught that, but it has become the commonplace action within the home. Naturally, my grandmother naturally took care of the home. My grandfather would come home, drop money there, drop food there, whatever, and my grandmother took care of everything. Mm-hmm. When it comes to cleanliness in the house, when it comes to rules in the house, my grandfather never set the rule. My grandmother set the rules. Mm-hmm. But my grandfather is king. Mm-hmm. If you understand what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? And but when if my grandmother wasn't there, if my grandmother wasn't there, things will not get done.
That's
the way they couldn't get done. And it's not to say my grandfather don't know. I don't know if he knew or not because we never experienced it. But what I'm saying to you is that when it comes to females, there's this thing about them that called nurturing. And they're better at nurturing than we are. And we try to. Yes, but we never had the real sit-down talk where we are taught to nurture or taught to organize. In most cases, or I don't know, because I've never done the research, but I can guarantee you that probably 85 to 90% of event planners in the world are females. Mm-hmm. I can guarantee you, you know what I'm saying? And that is why we men will sit back and expect females to organize the same Father Day. I'm not saying to you we shouldn't do it. I'm not saying to you that we can't get out of our backsides and do it. I'm simply saying to you that, you know what, this something that has been inbred in us for years, and don't expect to just turn the table and just expect, you know what, blam. So when a female organizes something for Mother's Day, almost all men get behind it and support it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Dr. Paul Fort, I need to cut you off, right?
Rachel.
But you sound like you're saying that because yes.
You told Paul that he can speak.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry, listeners. That was rude of me. Go ahead, Paul. Continue.
You hear what she said earlier? I'm a woman. let me roll.
But hold up. Let me lost my train of thought. But it seems like you're saying you're emphasizing that women are better organizers than men. Is your point that
I'm not emphasizing that?
But it sounds like you kind of saying that the reason why men don't organize things for themselves as well as women is because they don't have that natural organizing.
No, he didn't say that.
I didn't say that either.
I know those are not the words you're saying, but it seems like that's the point you're coming around to.
No. So men do organize. pride myself as a very good organizer, event planner. You can attest to this. I've never had a failure in one of my program. Well, that's a lie. The only failure we had is when the government shut down our program for COVID-19. Other than that, we have never canceled a program that I've organized. And I'm not grandstanding, I'm not boasting. I'm saying to you that there are men out there can get it done and they can do a fantastic job. And I'm not saying that women are better than men. I'm not saying men are better than women. I'm simply saying that the nurturing aspect of that was never ingrained in men. We always bringing drop the resources there, and the woman took care of everything. The woman made sure things were. I personally believe the woman. Realistically, on paper, the man is the head of the household. In actuality, in reality, in practicality, the female is the head, because she dictates a lot that goes on within the household, and she determines a certain thing. You think my grandfather never could say, "Wilma, I want rice today." No. What she could cut, and he would eat. You know what I mean?
And he eat first too.
And he eat first. But the thing is that it was a mutual understanding of those family dynamics years ago, that the man will provide and the woman took care of everything else. And I'm not saying that's the way it should be, but I'm saying to you that that's how we have been nurtured.
Yes,
and because of that, it's difficult now for men to get just say they can organize it. And when men do that, in most cases, and I don't want someone away, and please don't lambaste me for it, but in most cases, when men get up and organize things, you very seldomly have females coming out to support it.
Sir.
Very seldomly.
No, because what they'll do is critique it.
Yeah.
And to say, well, you should have put this here, or you should put that there, you know.
Well, you come and help us then.
Somebody hurt you. Somebody hurt you. This sound personal. Where you getting these statistics from?
Yeah, Rachel will not help me.
Where you getting these statistics from?
I don't get statistics. I don't have it. I can't speak to statistics because I do not do the research. I do not do the necessary analysis. But what I can say to you this area is that we have seen a lot of young boys being lost or guided to the way of guns. I said this before in the program already. Every person on the face of the earth is a teacher. And whether or not they're being taught right, whether or not they're being taught the right things is a different question. You know what I'm saying? But everyone's a teacher. That man that teach that youngster, I heard a story quite recently. There's a gentleman went to the church and he had on his cell phone. And the cell phone went off in church. And when the cell phone went off in church, after church, his wife scolded him, the other parishioners scolded him, the pastor scolded him, and they were very, very related to this guy. He wasn't loved, he wasn't liked, and he felt away. He never went back to church. He never went back to the church. Instead, he went to a rum shop. He was drinking. He missed a hit a glass. The glass dropped up and he going to break. You know what happened? The bartender ran out to him to make sure he was okay. The person next to you, the drink spill on, came to him to find out if he was okay. You know, everyone at the bar looked after him and made sure he was okay. Then he apologized. He said, "No, don't apologize, man. We make mistakes. Everybody make mistakes." That's a rum shop. That's a rum shop. You expected the care to come from the church. You don't expect that for that behavior. You know what I'm saying?
I get the point, Paul.
You know what I'm saying? And we may want that. We don't want you to come and criticize what effort we put in. We don't want to criticize because we haven't done it as good as how you would do it. You know what I'm saying? But no one is saying to our young men, this is how to do it. We're just criticizing them. And so when the fellows on the block teach them certain things, we can't get vexed with them for being good students. We can't get vexed with them for getting 100%, because you know that's who's teaching them. But I'm saying, I'm not knocking women. I'm simply saying that we need to have a situation where boys are given the same opportunities to be pampered and nurtured as how women are. And I'm not saying to you anything against women. I'm simply saying we need to have that balance. We need to have your men feel and understand that they're loved, they're taken care of, and they're wanted within society. A lot of them do these things. When I say these things, I talk about crime. A lot of them do these things, and that research has been done. A lot of them do these things out of the need to feel a sense of belonging, out of the need to feel a sense of, purpose. And when they have the gun, they feel empowered. They be empowered them something else. And it starts from doing programs at the young tender age for men.
Yes. You know, my concern is that having done or not done the fundamental things at an early stage, when we get to adult stage, when boys or men become young men and so on, girls and women expect these same boys that were not given the nurturing at the stage that they needed it. They still expect these boys to come out to be men that know how to love them. I have a problem with that, you know. Whatever we put in is what we should expect to get out. You can't get out what you didn't put in. That's what life is. But we are saying traditionally, from a societal point of view, that boys have not been nurtured the way that they have been, and that's the focal point. I mean, that's the bottom line. But we can change that, and we are making an effort to change that, right?
CBR will be doing that.
Yes, CBR will be doing that.
CBR will be doing our initiatives, our goals coming on stream from early as next month. We'll be putting programs in place where we'll be educating young men by men and by females also. There'll be some women who will be coming in and guiding young men on how a woman wants to be treated. A woman feels safe, because most women looking for security in their husband. Most women looking for security in their loved ones, and that's what we gotta teach the men to do. Exactly. Rachel, you want to speak?
Before you, Rachel, let me please propel the whole concept forward and say in advance, Happy Father's Day to all our fathers. You know, Sunday's Father's Day, of course, and we want to say Happy Father's Day to all our fathers across the world, especially those of you who are listening with us here on 2020 Vision Radio. We really do appreciate all of you who make it your business to ensure that you support and listen to 2020 Vision Radio, and now it's Out of the Shadows into the Light, and we are so thankful for your support, and so we wish you all the best for Father's Day. All right, Dr. Lywood, you are part and parcel and a very big part of this, and so from all of us at CBR, and the mantle falls on me because I'm the chairperson for CBR Nevis, and so from all of us at CBR Nevis, we want to wish you a very, very happy Father's Day when it comes.
Thank you very much, Redford. And same to you as well.
Thank you so much.
And Paul.
Paul, you have not put your hand up. Is your hand up for Father Paul? Well, happy Father's Day for you.
Yes, I am a dad. Yes,
thank you very much. Well,
happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to you as well.
And to all the Vision's dads. Yes.
The Vision
and
dads,
granddads.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me say good morning to our Facebook Live audience, beginning with Gwen Williams.
Gwen, cousin Gwen, good morning.
And she was happy to see the double Bajan this morning.
Hey.
Yeah, Bajan's in the house.
Yeah.
Double.
Is that double or double?
Double.
Paul's been devil's advocate anyway, so that's okay.
Yeah. And Gwen said, aiming to that way. She was agreeing with what you said earlier when you were talking about the women.
Thank you, Gwen. I feel outnumbered. You should be here. But thank you.
Gwen is always here.
Physically.
And then they'll say lie, but say, I love this woman. I love what she said about women.
Oh, I thank you.
Regarding it's a fact and very true. And I'm enjoying the program. Lady Liber came on, women like to take charge.
Oh, okay.
And Jam Fob saying,
You heard that, Paul?
Yeah, it's true.
Jam Fob saying, I think it takes two to bring up children. Each parent has something different to offer.
Correct.
To the raising of a family, which are equally important. And they'll say, wishing us Happy Father's Day. We're on Dr. Liber and all the fathers listening.
Thank you very much. You know, fortunately or unfortunately, well, I don't know which one to say, but I'm thankful for who I've become. But I was brought up by my mother. Never saw my father until I was about 13. Never actually saw him. But here's the thing that I could never understand, and I just write it down to this has to be God. My father's picture was always hanging in the living room, and all my siblings were always taught to recognize him as Daddy. He wasn't there, but his picture was there, and so whenever he walked through, you looked up, that was Daddy. You understood that was Daddy, right? It wasn't a hidden fact, it was reality. It was, you were taught that you had to respect him. He's not here, but he's the king of the house, right? And my mother raised all of us, single-handedly. But we were all taught to, you know, appreciate and understand that we have a daddy. He's somewhere. And yes, I take the suggestion, or the, you know, that it takes two. It should take two at least. I think that's the way it was designed, right, Dr. Lywood?
Yes, I mean the creator put it
Yes.
that two should become one.
Yes,
And raise the family in unity.
Raise the family. There you go. But unfortunately, some of us didn't have that. But we didn't come out too badly, thank God. We didn't come out too badly. But we're here now to encourage our fathers and our mothers, our men and our women, to get together, and to ensure that their children receive that kind of training in leadership, in whatever they're supposed to become. Let it be a holistic approach. Let it be
developmental approach.
Yes, right? And I believe that we will be much better for it. And so this whole discussion came from the fact that we had a very, very interesting, Dr. Lewis, please speak further to it. We had a very, very interesting conference yesterday at the Malcolm Gishard Park. And I am very, very, very appreciative of all the presenters and all the subjects that were addressed as it relates to climate change and the different groups of vulnerable people and how we are to put things in place,
Well,
safety nets to make sure that everybody's okay.
Yeah, well, the workshop was just to sensitize us to the Green Climate Fund and what they require from, stakeholders in terms of applying for grant funding under that initiative. And so the experts who have been with that program from the inception in the Caribbean, there's the Caribbean Climate Change Center, which is located in Belize, and they're part of the Green Climate Fund regional. They are the regional agency that manage the Green Climate Fund portfolio for the CARICOM countries, and they have offices, sub-offices, agents in different countries. I learned that there's a gentleman there. I think he's St. Lucia, but he's based in St. Kitts, and he's representing the Green Climate Fund in St. Kitts and Nevis. So, and the Ministry of Sustainable Development in St. Kitts is the lead agency in the federation that is the contact point for the Green Climate Fund. So they represent the Caribbean Climate Change Center in St. Kitts and Nevis, and this gentleman, he works there along with others in that unit. So, and then the Gender Affairs Department now here in Nevis, I think in St. Kitts as well too, they have been used as a focal point for civil society actors to access that program funding.
Can we say thank you and good morning to what's her name?
Sarah Sandrickson.
Sarah Sandrickson for
director.
ensuring that we were a part of this. They have been very supportive from the very inception.
Yes, I mean they have adopted our Nevis CBI advocates, and they have been reaching out to us in every program that they put on. They make sure that we get an invitation to get these capacity building processes in place and get to know how to access these programs that exist to support community groups and vulnerable population.
And Paul met a beautiful young lady yesterday. I think you'd want to reference that. Not necessarily at the conference, Paul, so you could go back now. Now is your chance. You remember her name?
Our first meeting?
Yeah, our first meeting. Speaking of.
Yes.
Oh, I'd be good.
I don't think you're gonna forget that.
No, we met with the minister of that's health,
Her gender affairs community development.
Yeah, Honorable Janelle
Nisbet, yeah.
Nisbet, yes.
So we had a very
fantastic
lovely
lady,
meeting,
and yeah, she seems to understand where we're going and where we want to go with our strategic development goals, and she did pledge her support to continue to assist the CBR. Not cash. We haven't asked for cash. We haven't asked for money. And I do dare say that though. We're not asking for cash. I mean, if you want to donate cash, we're going to take it.
Of course.
But we're not asking for cash. We're asking for resources. We're asking for support. Meaning that, you may know someone who has a bus that, they're not using. It can be donated to us. And you may have a mechanic that may want to, contribute his services by making sure the bus is retrofitted to suit disabilities and stuff like that. And so we're asking for those things. We're asking for in-kind donations or resources. And we spoke to the minister yesterday about this. And first, let me say thank you to her for one, taking the meeting, two, for engaging us in understanding what we really want. And she was no pushover at all. She was extremely professional how she dealt with us and let us know exactly where our boundaries will be held. And that was good. We appreciated that.
That's what we women do. We do that.
Yes,
yeah?
yes, you all do that.
Yes.
Women who are not prisoners.
Yes.
I know that very well. But the thing is that so again, we thank her very much for helping us out mentally yesterday, making it a bit easier on our minds that we will get the support continuously from her ministry and her the little agency, the departments under her purview.
So, Paul, talk to the main topic of the conversation, because I have it projected on the screen right now, on the Facebook Live feed.
The main topic, well, we had number topics.
Yeah, but I mean
the strategic development goals.
Yeah, so I have it projected on the screen, so you could let the listening audience know about more about it.
The goals we're hoping by May of 2026 to realize these goals in a more tangible manner, meaning that we have the programs already rolling out, they're successful, and we can have a report to the general public on how the programs are going. Last week we talked about the first development goal, which would be the development and strengthening of disabilities awareness and the care participation across Nevis, and that's something we can let to continue a bit more. But we need to emphasize that program, because once we get goal number 1 going, goal number 2 is going to become a natural process. Goal number 3 and 4 will become, hereditary, I guess. They can just fall into place. And goal number 1 looks a lot at helping Nevisions to understand what is disability, what is elderly care. And these are 2 facets we cannot walk away from in earth on life, because as long as you're living, once you're living, you will get old. You will come to a bracket where you're elderly one day. The only thing that can prevent that is death. So I don't know if somebody wants to die to prove me wrong or not, but that's the only thing that can prevent it. You understand? Disability awareness, we cannot predict that we will not be disabled. We cannot predict that. The only person who have that ability to do that is God. And I'm no God, so I don't know if Rachel is saying that she's a God.
No. Just quickly, you said something that reminded me of something that didn't occur to me until yesterday. Somebody said that people can become temporarily disabled. So, like, if you break your foot and you have to wear a cast for a few months, and for some reason that never occurred to me before, the idea of temporary disability. So that's what came to me.
I'm glad she brought that up to the point, because that is something we don't discuss.
Right.
We are all aware of it, We are very much aware of it. Michael was playing football yesterday. He got his foot broken. He's in the
has to wear
cast to use crutches now, and we don't see him as disabled. We just say he's injured.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's incapacitated. He's disabled. If you understand me. And it is interesting, Rachel, and thank you for bringing it up, because we do not discuss that, and that's very relevant in today's age, because you will see a person today who goes, let me say, visual repair, temporary visual repair, and then later on the person can see, and then he was now blind in the first place. He was 10 lies. Because we don't fathom that these things can be, periodical. The temperamental, I guess we call that. So, but again, this goes into the awareness that we're talking about. It goes into the training we're going to be speaking about, because we're looking, as we told the minister, we're looking at doing a number of seminars and workshops on helping persons across communities to understand and identify disabilities. You understand? And how to interact with them. When we look at climate change yesterday, we talked about disability situation too. One thing came to mind, the concept of autism and the different spectrums of the children who behave in a certain manner. And there are those who are not accustomed to, like we say, a hurricane or we say a mudslide or some of the sort, but just the noise of it could trigger something. How do you respond to that person? And so these are things we're looking at getting a person's trained to understand. The basic understanding of being a first responder. How do you approach these people in distress situations? How do you approach these people when something has befallen them that was not there before? And goal number 1 speaks to all of that. It is an impactful goal. It is a full goal, and it's a realistic goal in the sense that they can be realized because they're about training. They're about helping persons understand and identify and interact with persons with disabilities and the elderly. There are a lot of elderly folks out there who are locked away in the house because daughter is afraid that, if she left the house, she will not come back. And that's okay to have that fear. But let us teach that daughter how to deal with that situation.
There you go.
Let's teach that daughter how to handle that situation. Let us help that lady, that grandmother, that mummy who's of a certain age, who might be suffering for something, to be able to contribute or be part of something going on. Don't you just shut it away. And that's what the goal number one is we're looking at. And we're glad to have the support from the minister. We have had the minister of education who expressed an interest in assisting us also. And so those are things we're looking at putting on the forefront, because this goal in particular will be rolled out not only within the community, but we can seek to get programs in schools to help persons to understand it. And I mean, in situations in Barbados, we've had persons who were challenged that are in what we consider to be normal secondary schools, and they had to be removed because a teacher who just happened to visit the school recognized. You know what I'm saying here? And so in Barbados now we're having a lot more persons being trained in special needs so they can understand, recognize certain things. And so that we have a number of institutions also who cater to special needs that can come on board and stuff so in Barbados. And that's what we're trying to establish here in Nevis. We're trying to have that program set up in Nevis.
I'm very excited about the whole program, Paul, and thank you for taking the time to develop this document for us. But one of the part that excites me really is getting to understand how to deal with persons with disabilities, because for whatever reason, traditionally, and we've been talking about traditionally a lot, because you see things around you, see things happen around you, there's a pattern being formed, and so everybody just follows that pattern, right? And there has been the concept that once a person is disabled in whatever way, I mean, it's ironic, but if a person got their hand broken or the foot broken or whatever, they feel that, okay, you have a broken foot, you can't do nothing, that's it, you're useless. You know what I mean? We have not stopped to recognize that that person has a brain, that person can still think, that person can still do a number of things and still make meaningful contributions to our community. And this is one of the things that this is one of the discussions that we want to address, right? Where, yes, a person necessarily can jump on the bus quick like you can, but with just a little assistance, that person can perform just as well as you, and maybe better, and help you to achieve, much more. Not forgetting that the mantra of CBR is together everyone achieves more, right? And so the whole concept of reaching out and addressing and arresting those scourges, those setbacks, those little things that we have been overlooking and not being able to embrace and maximize the potential of all our people because of all these different lacks. I'm very excited about making sure and putting programs in place to making sure that we understand persons who are autistic, persons who have visual disabilities, persons who have different disabilities, to understand that yes, once they're alive and once they have a strong will, once they have the desire, once they can recognize who they are, and they can make their contribution. And even in the case of what you mentioned, an older person, the Bible teaches that the older women should teach younger women, right? And so it embraces the concept that we are to sit as often as we can at the feet of our elderly, because they have much to teach us, right? And so we have to mentally make the mental adjustment, we have to make the physical adjustment, we have to make sure that we put the systems in place so that we can glean as much as we can going forward. So I thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for amplifying that, Paul. And CBR, of course, is embracing the opportunity to facilitate these programs.
Yesterday at the seminar, they talked a lot about marginalized communities and marginalized groupings.
Yes.
And sometimes, based on what you're saying now, sometimes a lot of persons inadvertently, places a group of people in the background. And it's not that they want to do it. It's not that they're seeking to do that, but sometimes they don't see it because it's not in their purview, if you understand what I'm saying. And that's something we need to again, the concept of awareness is to help you to understand that these things exist, these things really happen. And we need to fix it. We need to get it fixed. CBR program for next year, the strategic development goals, is seeking to fix this. And we're not going to get everything right. We're not going to get it right in first stanza, but we expect persons to come on board and point us in the right directions. As we told the minister yesterday, we don't want her coming to us and asking her, or her team of professionals asking us. We want her to instruct us. You know what I mean? When they think we're going wrong, when you see things going wrong,
yes, of course,
point us in the direction which you think is better, because you know best. You know what I mean? And we're not behaving as though we know everything. We're behaving as though we're learning. And like I said, once we stop listening, we stop learning. Once we stop learning, everything falls apart. And so that's what's important right now. That's important.
And so we are calling everyone to join us. And we have to also emphasize that this is a community effort, right? We are bringing the community together because we recognize that each of us have something to bring to the table, correct?
You know, I mean, the CBI is a strategy in community development where persons with disabilities and their families are put front and foremost in that program, and they are being empowered to look after themselves and creation of self-help groups, we call them OPDs, Organization of Persons with Disabilities, is one of the outcome objective of the CBI strategy, where this group give the people a platform, a focus for communal action, which is more effective than the acting individually, and they have the peer support of the group, and they could now apply for grant funding, which they will qualify for as an organized community group, and they can do bigger and better things. I mean, the group in Antigua, the ABAPD, is doing tremendous work with their horticulture therapy program. When you look at their Facebook posting and so on, you know, I mean, they're becoming self-sustainable because they can now live off the farm, you know, and that's what we want to see throughout the Caribbean. I hear and think it's in where the persons with disabilities, they have access to land, they have these programs going on, vocational training programs, you know, they have a farming project going, where they have become self-sustainable and not depending on charity or, you know, handouts from others, but they are creating their own wealth, their own economic livelihood potential. And so CBI will help to produce all that. And the goal that, you know, we have promulgated here, thank you to Paul, that we can now use those to get these programs up and running, you know, different awareness, you know, then once we have awareness, then we begin to get different programs, our cake making and crafts and
entrepreneurial and vocational programs.
You know, I mean, there's so much thing that can be done using the strategic framework of the community-based rehabilitation.
What I envision, sorry to cut you, Dr. Library, what I envision is a structure. Imagine we have a structure, and within that structure we have a bakery. Who's doing the baking? Persons of disability, and elderly persons. That money we're making money. Imagine we have a structure, and we're making clothes. Who's doing the making? Persons with disabilities and the elderly I mean, the aim is to create the avenues where this person can still expel their skills and show their skills, because most persons shut down with disability and they disable and believe that though they can't do this, they can't do that. And we have to highlight those skills, we have to bring those skills to the fore. And that what you talk about again in Antigua is fantastic. And that is good, because self-sustainability is one of the greatest power a disabled person can have today. And the elderly, you know very well, you can sustain yourself because of your output, and people appreciate your output because they value.
You know, and some of these people, nobody wants to employ them because of their disability, but coming together as a group, they create their own employment opportunities, their own livelihood potential, working together as a team, you know, in a group setting.
And so we continue to appeal to all those of you who are listening, watching, our entire community to come on board with us. And as Dr. Lai would always say it, he gets it right most of the times. Let's start the conversation, right? And get an understanding of what CBI is doing, where we are going, where we want to go, and who our focus is and what our focus is, so that we can work together, right? It's all about working together. As Paul said earlier, nobody is saying that we know everything. Nobody is saying that we got it right. It's all right, but, you know, we can always look at each other and say, okay, well, you know, why don't you take a left here or take a right here, or, you know, why don't you do it this way? Let's do it together. And I believe that we're much stronger together. Together, everyone achieves more.
How does the song go again, Ren?
We are glad we came together, together, together. We are glad we came together at CBR. There is help and healing for everyone, for everyone, for everyone. There is help and healing for everyone at CBR. There is there for great achievement, achievement, achievement. There is there for great achievement at CBR. We are gaining so much more, so much more, so much more. We are gaining so much more at CBR. Together everyone achieves more, achieves more, achieve more. Together we achieve more at CBR. And this song always brings to fore the fact that Dr. Lywos is bold. Ray, would you believe that Dr. Lywos soloed this song 2 weeks ago?
I would believe that.
Yes, he did
that's
too.
That's the kind of guy that Dr. Lywos is. And it was probably the best rendition of that song that we ever had.
Well, I do applaud him for, making the effort. We have a call, Dr. Lywos.
Okay, let me just. Okay, continue.
Good morning, you're on Out of the Shadows into the Light. Hello.
Oh dear.
Caller? I don't think a caller is here anymore.
Oh dear.
Good morning. Alright, well, caller, you have to. Okay, call us back, right? But we thank you for calling and making an effort. I didn't mention our numbers, but our numbers are 669-7312 or 469-7953, right? 1-869-669-7312 or 1-869-469-7953. And we, as usual, always invite your interaction with us here on 2020 Vision and on Out of the Shadows into the Light. Got a question, got a point to make, got a suggestion, whatever, a recommendation, whatever, we're always happy to partner with you. That's what CBA is all about, right? And outside of Out of the Shadows into the Light, you can always reach Dr. Lywos at 662. Okay, I think they're trying again, Dr. Lywos.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, phone not cooperating.
Yeah, good morning, Gwen.
Gwen, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning to all.
Yes, good morning. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm good.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah, you sound good.
Thank God in my life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Dr. Library, I have my appointment this morning, so
Okay.
I just want to call in and wish you fathers in the studio happy Father's Day. Ren, I'll see you tomorrow. You'll get your special tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow's my special. Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Nice to have my Bayesian folks
Hey.
in the studio. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Gwen.
Ray and Paul. Bayesians in the house. Yeah.
No, I was here first, so my name has to be called first.
Ren, I'm coming to Paul.
Oh, okay.
Paul, it was so nice to have you these 2 Fridays with us. And I'm wishing you all the best on Father's Day tomorrow. You'll be enjoying your Father's Day in Nevis. Anyway, and also have a safe flight back home.
Thank you very much. Thank you very,
Oh,
very much.
don't tell him too much about flight just now. Gwen, he's not thinking about flight anytime soon.
Oh, well, last week he said that he would be leaving on Monday, so
Oh, he did.
I'm wishing him a safe flight.
And I'm thank you for that. I would love to stay, but I can't.
I don't think he remembered that he's leaving on the 16th, although he said it before. But anyway, it's
Well, I remembered.
Mhm.
I'll be missing his voice on the next program. But anyway, Ray, I'm so happy
Thank
to
you.
see you this morning.
Thank you. Nice
My,
hearing from you.
my number one Bayesian girl.
All right.
I'm blushing. Can you see? Thank you, Gwen.
Okay, Gwen, thank you so much. We are just about
Okay.
out of time. Thank you for calling. Thank you so much.
Okay, and thanks everyone for.
And thank everyone for being with us on the program. You know, we always look forward to your support. As I said earlier, please feel free to always give us a call and get involved in CBR and all that we are endeavoring to do. Your support is of paramount importance to us. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Paulie. Thank you, Dr. Lyward. Want to wish you all a very good day and a great weekend. Happy Father's Day again to all our fathers.
And the breakfast is still on.
Yes, the breakfast is going on, should be going on as we speak at the
So
Cotton
head
Ground
on
Community
over.
Center. So head on over. $20 get you a wonderful breakfast. We're going over now to get ours, right? So bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We're out of here.
Bye, everyone.
Eureka Health Services and 2020 Vision Radio presents Out of the Shadows and Into the Light with host Dr. Glenville E. Liebert and special guests. Join us every Friday at 7 a.m. as